I'm going to show you how to find bass marks on your phone. We're going to be using Navionics and just any standard phone, tablet or iPad. If you stay to the end of the video, I'll show you how you can do all of this without any internet at all. So if you're out on your boat and you don't have any signal, doesn't matter. So if you want to catch bass like this, you want to catch them inshore, offshore, wrecks, gulleys, reefs, I'm going to show you how to find all of them in this video. Enjoy. You will need Navionics installed on your phone, so open up the App Store and type in Navionics if you're on iPhone. This will work on Android as well. Scroll down until you see Navionics Boating and click Get or Download. As you can see, I've already got it, so I'm not going to do that, but when you open it, it will look like this. Now, in order to use relief shading, you will need the subscription, so make sure you get that before you start this video. Okay, so let's just make sure we've all got the same settings. Let's enable relief shading. Let's make sure easy view is enabled. Let's make sure water level is 0, shallow area is 0, depth shading is 0, and depth contours I set to all. This is the settings that I have, but people may prefer something different. So here's a reef. You can see this is a reef because it's a different colour to the area around it. You can see it's a lighter colour. It's like an orangey, reddy colour. Below it's a blue, here it's like a red. And up here you can see it's a red because it's a shallow area. So if we zoom in on it, we can see it's surrounded by really tight contour lines. And in the middle it's red or orange. And off the side it's 36, 37 feet and it's a lighter colour. And when we come up on top of it, it's around 18 to 20 feet. So if you actually think about this, think about the seabed. The seabed around it is around 36 to 37 feet, right? Now, if you picture something coming up around 10, 15 feet, that would give you that reef. So if you think it's going along that it comes up around 10 feet, above that 10 feet, we've got about 20, 25 feet. So that's why we can see here that it is a different colour because it's a different depth. If it's a shallow area in and around a deep area, that means the ground is raised. Now, you should not forget about other little bits of area like little rocks or reefs off of the big bit. You don't always have to fish the huge reefs. A lot of the fish will go off into the smaller areas to hunt other prey. So if we go off here, we can see there's a smaller reef or some rocks, and you can see the depth here is around 40 feet. That goes off to 49, 50 feet. So we know that, again, this area is raised off the seabed, and we can see it's only a short 100 feet long, but we can see it's definitely higher up than its surroundings. So when stuff's higher up, this means that the tide will rush over it. It will change the flow of the area of water. So if you was going to anchor, you would anchor with your anchor in the red icon, and then your boat positioned where the purple icon is, and then your lines going off into where the 41 number is or the 39. You wouldn't necessarily put your boat right over the top. You would just put it just off of it and then fish into it. Again, if you was going to drift it with lures, this is the drift line that I would take, and you would drift along. So that's how you find reefs, that's how you find small little rocks, how you can use contour lines to benefit you to find different marks. Let's see if I can show you a nice example of a bank. So you can see straight away here we've got some really tightly coupled contour lines. Now at the top it's around 30 feet, 32, 31, dropping off down to 40, 45, 49, 50 feet. So down here we can see it's not tight, and then it comes up into the contour lines and it's raising all the way up to around 30 feet. So this suggests that it's a reef or a bank. Now the reason I would say this is more of a bank is because it drops right back down to 40 feet. It's not all different depths, it's the same depth along the top. So you can see this is the bank here, or the raised structure, and you wouldn't drift along that line. You would drift up it like this till you get to the top, and then drift back down. When you're drift fishing this with your lures, you want to be bouncing them along the bottom all the way up and then dropping them all the way back down, making sure that you're staying in contact with the seabed. Because obviously when you're changing depths, that lure's not always going to be in the same position, which is at the bottom. So that's how you find a bank. Here's another example of a very well-known bank at Beachy Head. You can see the bank's around 55, 60 feet and drops off right to 100 feet. So I've shown you reefs, I've shown you boulders, I've shown you banks, I've shown you contour lines. Let's see if I can show you a nice wreck. Now wrecks can be great for bass or pollock, or if pouting's your thing. But here's a nice little wreck. Let's see if we can find one. I've never fished this area really. But this one here, Branksome Chine. Never fished it, but it looks like a good wreck. Now you can see here the wreck icon. If you click on the question mark, it will tell you some information about the icon, about the wreck, about the location, and you can save this, and then you can see which way the wreck is facing, and you can see the relief shading of the actual shipwreck. So you can check to see the length. And again, that would be a perfect drift line if you was drifting it like that. It's not always like that. That's what you want it to be, drifting along the wreck. But because of the tide and wind and everything else, you're probably not always going to get it like that. But that's how you would fish a wreck and find a wreck. Wrecks are easy to find. Like I say, you've just got the wreck icon. So you can just use that. And you can see them from quite far out when you're zoomed out like this. My choice if I was bass fishing is normally reefs and gulleys, changes of depths. So this is how you save your maps for offline usage. So if you haven't got any data when you're out fishing and you're worried about using your Navionics because you don't get data or you've run out or you haven't got any signal, make sure you download your maps before you go fishing. You can download these on Wi-Fi when you're at home, and then when you load up the app, you can access the map without any internet at all. So you don't need internet to use Navionics. Just download the maps before, exactly how I done then. Go to your menu, scroll down and click download maps. And you just select the area you want and make sure you've got relief shading enabled. And then good to go. You can see here that I've downloaded a huge map, 160 mile long. So that covers all of my fishing. I've actually got a little bit more. You can see 250 miles long. So that is pretty much the whole of the south coast near us. So I really hope that's helped someone. Like I say, there's no voodoo magic to try and find these locations. Just use your map, look for your contours, look for the changes of depths, and you'll start to get used to what to look for. Just make sure you set your markers if you find a good mark. There's nothing worse than going to a marker and not setting your marker. Hope that's helped. I'll leave my other video at the end of this video so you can watch it through on how to use Navionics for beginners. And I'll chat to you next time.